This video has been prepared to help you in understanding how to read your student's outcome-based progress report in math. When you first look at your student's progress report, it may look like a foreign language to you. Don't worry, this video has been created to help you through this process. While many of the items that will be discussed in this video may be applicable to all classes currently using this assessment method, it is geared specifically towards the Carleton Math Department. Some major points to keep in mind. In all classes, a level 2 is expected on each outcome. Most students, however, should aim to achieve a level 3 or higher on each outcome. Students will often be given more than one in-class opportunity to demonstrate understanding on each outcome to check for growth and retention. If a student does not achieve a level 2 on in-class assessments, they are expected to reassess the outcome. Talk to the student's teacher for specific details. And any student can reassess an outcome to improve their understanding. Talk to the student's teacher for specific details on that policy. We have a general rubric that explains what each level contains. So when you see these 2s, 2.5, 3s, 4s, and you want to understand what they mean, we do have a general rubric to explain that. To put it simply, level 1 means that a student still needs to work some more on that outcome. Level 2 means that they can do the basic concepts expected for that particular outcome. Level 3 means that they can perform all skills in the curriculum that were the target goal for that outcome. And level 4 means that they can apply those skills. We do have specific rubrics for each of these. So if you were wanting to figure out what outcome 1A, GCF and LCM, actually entailed and what your student is being assessed on, you could go and look up the specific rubric. There is going to be another video on how to read the rubrics, but I will show you where you can find them. If you go to Carleton homepage and you click on the Students tab, from there you can click on, we'll go down here, click on Departments. And from Departments, we can find the Math. And then once you're in the Math, there are all of the courses listed. And you can choose whichever course your son or daughter is in. If they are in a Foundations of Math class, we will click on Foundations of Math. And if they are in Foundations 20, you can click on Foundations 20, and then it will bring up the option where you can then click on the rubric. And then you can find the outcome that you are looking for. How do we determine the current level for each outcome? This is a complicated process, and all details cannot possibly be explained in a short video like this one. I do, however, have a couple of examples for you. If a student's most recent assessment mark is higher than their previous assessments, that level is considered to be their current level. This can be seen in outcome 1A. As they wrote their assessments, the most recent one was the highest. So that is their current level. Retention is also important. So if a student's mark drops from their previous current level, the change will be reflected in their updated current level. This can be seen in outcome 8A. The student started at a level 3.5, but then for whatever reason, they struggled the next time it was done in class and weren't at the basic level of understanding. And then when they wrote the third assessment, they still were not at the basic level of understanding. So their current mark is reflected in this process, and it is at a 1.5. They will still need to reassess this and learn it again. So retention is also considered. Sometimes professional judgment is necessary to determine the final level. If we look at outcome 8C, they kind of bounced all over. They started with a really solid understanding, but then over time struggled with some of the material and were down to in between the 2 and the 3 level of understanding. And then on the third assessment, they went back up to an independent level. So the teacher would use some professional judgment to determine where they think the student is most consistent. Sometimes the teacher will look at detail to the assessments to determine what went right or wrong, and then they will look at where the student's best level of understanding is. More emphasis will be on recent assessments and where they are most consistent. As mentioned, this can be a complicated process. So if you have any questions about how your students' current levels were determined, don't hesitate to ask his or her teacher. So let's talk about the progress report itself. So this is what it would look like. This is what you will see when your son or daughter brings home their progress report. What we have here, at the top, it will tell you what class it is. So it's Math 10. And this is very useful when you start seeing multiple progress reports coming home from different classes. You can look to see which class it is that we're talking about. All of these listed here, these are called the outcomes. All of the outcomes will be completed in class. Earlier on in the semester, there might not be a lot listed. Some teachers may hide all of the ones that they have not yet covered in class. Some might leave them, and in that case, there would be just a little dash, this is a dash, in the current level spot, followed by a short red bar. If that's the case and you are wondering if it's something that hasn't been done or if it's something that your son or daughter missed, please ask the teacher and they will give you more details. All of these here are your individual assessment levels. So you can see this was assessment 1, 2, 3. Now you might be wondering what happened here. They don't have any score for assessment 1, but then they have scores for assessment 2 and 3. This is because these have to be entered in the order that your son or daughter wrote them so that we can be looking for growth. If we started mixing them up, you wouldn't know if they actually have improved or if they had dropped off. So these are red. You can read them left to right. This is the first one they wrote, second one they wrote, third one they wrote on that specific outcome. So you can read it and follow it to see if they are improving. That's what you want to be looking for. If they are dropping off, like we talked about earlier here, this is a red flag, and you should be asking them, what happened? What did you know the first time that you've forgotten? And let's see what we can do to fix this problem. The current level is found in this column here. The current level is what is going to be used to determine the final grade. So these scores are based on the series of assessments that they've written. And I talked about that a little bit earlier on finding the current level. And then here it's a color-coded graph. That allows you at a really quick glance to see overall how things are going in the class. So when you first look at your student's progress report, scan that color-coded bar graph on the right-hand side. Your student is doing fantastic on any outcomes shown in green. That's a level 3.5 or 4. So a green bar would be for those two levels. They're having a deep understanding of that particular outcome. A blue bar shows that your student is doing quite well. And that would be the 2.5 to 3 range. They're meeting that target, or they're pretty close to the target for the curriculum. A yellow bar would be found at the level 2. This one would be yellow. It's meaning that they're meeting the minimum level. However, we should be trying to work a little bit further. Yes, it's the minimum level. That's what we expect. However, in order to be really successful at the next level, we would like to see you out of the yellow. So those are ones that, although they don't have to reassess, we highly encourage them to reassess. Anything below a 2 is in the red zone. The student is not meeting the minimum expectation. They will struggle to be successful at the next level, and we are expecting that they are relearning and reassessing these outcomes. So on the left side there, I talked about the outcome numbers and descriptions so that you can quickly identify what a student is struggling with or excelling with. So if we look at this here, you've done your quick scan, and you see I've got, my son or daughter has 3 reds. I can quickly go over, and I know those are my 3 outcomes that I might go back to the rubric on, see what it is that they need to work on, and encourage them to continue that learning process. So I hope that this has helped you out. And if you have any more questions, please feel free to ask your student's teacher. All right, so the important part is we want you to understand what this is. When you see the progress report, it's a quick scan of your colors. If there's any reds, you can look to see what the individual outcomes are and then go to the rubrics to see what needs to be done. Yellows, maybe you're encouraging your son or daughter to continue working on those. The other questions that I'll often get asked is, what is a good level? Is 3 good? Well, 3 is good if you're going 1, 2, 3. That student has shown great improvement of their understanding. But 3 might not be so good if you're going 4, 3.5, 3. You're actually losing some of the learning over time. So those are things that you are now able to see when you have an outcomes-based progress report. Thank you.